Hey, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon from where you are watching this session. First of all, let me know in the chat where exactly you are. From where you are watching this session. And yeah, welcome to the meeting. So I think this is the first time we are having a meeting in the session, not the webinar. Okay, Suresh is logged in from Delaware. Wait. From Chicago. Okay, anyone have not joined through Zoom? I'm sharing the link in the chat. Okay, from Tamil Nadu, from Virginia, from New York. Okay, looks like most of you are from outside India, is it? Okay, Hyderabad, California, cool. Pune, USA, Bangalore, Texas, Pune, Sydney, Pune, Pakistan, Kuala Lumpur. Okay. In fact, Anand, currently I'm in Bangalore. Maybe next year we are planning to shift to Pune. So I hope we'll enjoy the climate there as well. The only reason we are staying in Bangalore now is because of the climate, but Pune is the next target. Just a second, there's some wiring down there. Okay, looks good. Okay, so this says just moved from Bangalore 4 months back. Bangalore is good. Yeah, good city. The only problem which I feel here is traffic and yeah, I think that's the biggest problem here. Apart from it, it's a beautiful city. Oh, in Pune also traffic. Okay. Uh, cool. Okay, so let's start this session. Before we start, people who have not seen me before, uh, I'm Navin Reddy. I started a YouTube channel called Telisco. Also, we are running a startup, the EdTech Telisco. And personally, I started my career in 2010. It's been 14 years now, um, working on different technologies. I started with Java, then moved to big data, then bit of blockchain. Worked on worked for some time in Python, and now currently moving towards AI. It's not like um, completely shifting, just getting used to the AI technology so that I can help the students better. Okay. Yes, Aitesh, I'm sharing the link. Okay, that's about me. And okay, so today we have a meeting. So normally Heather used to take all these sessions using webinar, right? And webinar make much more sense when we are taking a session is because there's no much disturbance because on the screen, if you can see, there are a lot of faces you can see. And today I want you to see your faces. If you can get your camera on, please do that. The reason is I don't prefer webinars is because I don't have that much of energy and what do you say, the excitement as Heather. It's been a lot of session has been done right now. You know how Heather handled the batch. The energy level just goes up after every minute in the session, and he can manage without faces. But for me, I need faces to talk to. I got bored talking to a camera, making videos. So when I take a session, I request everyone if you can get your camera on. Oh, thank you so much, Daniel. At least we got one camera on. Oh, thank you so much, Shweta. Anusha. Okay. Do not have a camera connected in PC. Okay, it took some time. Maybe you are setting up your background before you start your camera. I mean, that's very important, right? We don't want to reveal things. Cool. Thank you so much for getting your camera on. And now let's get started. Okay. Before we get started, I have one more question. How the sessions are going till now? It's been a lot of time. I mean, a lot of sessions has been done on Java. I think interface is the last concept we talked about. So how's the session till now? You can use your camera, you can use your mic, you can use the chat. Anything you want to share?
Classes are going good as of now. Concepts are very clearly explained. I think everyone can understand. Right, when I say everyone, experienced and non-experienced, anyone can understand. That's my view.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Session.
like all the concepts are like spoon feeding for us, but practice is much needed from our end. So yeah, Haider was really good. At first I thought like you will be teaching us the Java sessions, but yeah, as you said in the first class, Haider was really good.
True, true. And that's the problem, So uh, when people join because of my face, they're like, okay, we want to learn from Naveen. And then when Heather comes in, it takes some time, maybe 15, 20 minutes for Heather to get that zone. And then once he is in, he's amazing. And the problem is, if he takes few sessions, and after that, when I show my face, people are like, where's Heather? So and that's why I get scared before coming to the session. So I hope, and I mean, I think this is the first time no one has asked, where's Heather? Normally, when I come for this session, they're like, will Heather be joining? Or so cool. Yeah, he got the alignment in Java. That's true. That's true. Okay, he mentioned that I'm going to take Lambda. Okay. So no surprises. Great. Okay. The reason I take Lambda in all the classes is because I love the concept, and that's why I'm going to take that today. Okay, cool. Okay, on that note, let's get started. Now, so interface is done, right? Just wanted to get confirmed. Interface is done?
Yes.
Awesome. Abstract class, of course, abstract class and interface. Apart from it, okay, that's the prerequisite I want. And now we can talk about the Lambda expression, but before we do that, I need a project in my Spring, okay, not Spring. I'm not sharing my screen. I will do that in some time. I'm just creating a project. Okay. I hope you can see my screen, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so just try to keep your camera on so that I can see your faces and talk. I don't want to look your blank, the names, and that's weird. Okay, so let's get started. So now what I'm going to do is, let me create a very simple Java file in the SRC, just to see, because I'm creating a normal project after a long time. I mean, you will get to know that. So once you start working with the frameworks, you don't create normal projects in Java. You create a Maven projects or Gradle projects. What is Maven? What is Gradle? You will get to know that later. Okay, so let me create a simple class called as demo. Not a good name for the class, but works here. And let me have a main method, and let me print something. In fact, I'm using this particular machine after a long time, and I just have to disable the AI. Okay, by the way, how many of you tried any AI tool? Okay, Shweta has done that. How was your experience? Pretty good. Okay. ChatGPT. Yeah, I mean, not just ChatGPT. I'm talking about the AI tool which you can integrate in your IDE. Example, Copilot or Code Whisperer. So
I've
it gives
used
a different
Cody.
experience. Sorry?
I've used Cody for my JavaScript projects.
Sorry, which one? IBS?
Cody, CODY.
Cody, okay, I've never tried it. I think I've explored only Copilot and Code Whisperer at this point. So you mentioned about Cody, right? I will just give it a
Yeah.
try. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have also used Copilot in VS Code, but the main problem is it will make our brains dumb. We
True.
can't learn anything because it itself generates the code, suggestions, whatever it is.
Right. See, yeah, for learners, it's not a good idea to use AI now, but we have to also understand in future, every project, or I mean, every domain will be having AI included. So even for developers, we don't have a choice now. So when you join the company in future, maybe you want to change your project or anything, they will be looking for people who can code, but also who can use AI tool to increase their productivity. Because most of the companies are getting their licenses, especially if you are working for banks and any company where data is an issue or security is the issue, they might be moving to AI a bit later. But other companies, product-based companies, startups, they will be using AI tool to increase their productivity. So just to be safe in the market, explore AI tools. Don't depend upon them now, but start using it just for the exploration or how to use it, because it takes some time for your brain to actually get used to. It's something like having a friend next to you, and how do you work in a pair? That's more about AI programming nowadays. It's not like you are sitting alone and doing it. Oh, okay. This is the first time I heard about a bank where they're making you use AI tool compulsory. Weird. Recently, I was working with one of the bank as a trainer. I went there for 2 weeks, and they have strict no. It's a US-based bank, but they have strict no of using AI, any AI tool. But they are building their own AI tool. They call it some GPT. I forgot the name. Okay, since May it is compulsory. Okay, cool. So maybe the banks are moving slowly towards AI tool. So yeah, the point is start using them and get used to it. Okay, Shweta says I work for Disco and all the tools are banned. Oh, okay. Maybe for some time in future they might be using it. At this point, no. So they will create their own. The only problem with AI tools is the data is an issue. So companies who are relying on user data and they don't want to, they don't want to risk the data. So they're not using it now. So they will be building their own internal AI tool to use it. The problem, Venkatesh, is the issue with the data security. So since AI uses your data, what if you're using a tool which is integrated in your platform, and then this AI tool is using all the data, and then we have no idea how they're going to use your data. Example, let me give an example here. Let's say I'm sharing my screen now, right? So this is a code. And in this code, let's say if I'm going to use some API key, And you can see if I type API key, it is giving me some suggestion here, right? But if I be very specific, so it is giving an API key. I'm not sure if this is correct API key or will this work or not, but imagine all this AI which is giving you this data is actually being processed processed using some data. So they have been trained with some data. And in that data, if there's any data which is secure or which should not be shared, and AI is trained on that data, it is taking that data and sharing with others, it's kind of risky. They might do it intentionally, they might do it unintentionally. So companies don't want to take a risk of sharing their data, which is confidential. So instead of using public AI tools, they are going to use private AI tools. Okay, enough of AI. Let's focus only on our Java. Just wanted to tell you that you can use AI tool and start exploring it. And one more thing, Haider might be using Eclipse. I normally prefer to use IntelliJ, but IDE should not be an issue. So whatever IDE you use, you can just stick to it. Okay, so this is our code, and I'm just going to run it to see if this is working. And yeah, it is working. You can see we got high. Now let's get started. So we'll go slowly and we'll build towards Lambda expression. The first thing I'm going to do here is disable my AI because I don't want this completion. Okay, and let's look at the output folder. So in IntelliJ, I'm not sure about Eclipse. I forgot to use how Eclipse even looks like. But you can see we have different folders here. We got SRC, we got out. Inside out, you can see there's one class file called demo. Okay. Now this file here, which is in SRC, it is your demo.java file. It's a Java source code. The demo here, this is a class file. And that's why if you can see, if I click on this class, it says demo.class here. And it is basically showing you the code, the decompiled version of it. Okay, so most of the IDEs, they have inbuilt decompilers, which will decompile the code and show you the code. This is not the exact code which I have written. So they try to decompile based on some way. Important point is this is your class and this is your Java file. Now let me create one more class here. So I'm going to create class, let's say, I'm going to use simple name. Again, not a good practice, but it works for the sessions. Okay, don't use this class names in your real life. So this is your class A, and I'm going to create a method here, which is like very simple method, which is public void show. And in this show, I'm going to print, let's say, in a show. Okay, simple stuff, nothing fancy. And I'm going to create object of this here. So I mean, of course, if you want to call this method, the only way to do that is create the object. So I will say a obj equal to new a, and let's run this. Okay. We are not printing it is because we are not calling it. So obj.show, it's still not morning for me. Okay, so you can see we got in a show, simple stuff, right? Now, it's not showing it here. What's wrong? There should be some other. Okay, not showing it here. Anyway, so you tell me, everyone, how many class file this is going to create? Of course, we are only creating one Java file, but how many class files it is going to create this program? 1, 2, 2, right? So one is the a.class and second is demo.class. So basically it will create 2 class files. Perfect. Okay, if I create one more class, of course it will create one more class there, right? Okay, so now let's go next step. So let's say I want to basically override this particular. Okay, let me just go in different way. Yeah. So what if I want to override this particular method show? I don't want to print in a show. So I want to basically change the behavior of this method show. What do we do in that case? Okay. No, we don't implement it. We override it, right? So we do implementation when we want to implement a method which is declared. This method is already defined. So we don't basically implement this method, we override this method, right? Okay, so what you're saying is you can create a class here, and I can simply say this, and this class need to extend A, and this class name is, this method name is void show, and we have to make sure that the method name remains show, so in order to override it. And here I'm going to print in B show. Of course, you can do anything else here. I'm just trying to show how do we override stuff. And instead of creating object of A, we can create object of B, simple stuff. We can use A for the reference creation, but then the object creation should be of B. And now if you run this, it says in B show. And now you'll be thinking, hey, we have already done this, right? We know this move. That's right. So I'm just trying to build things here. So we got, if you want to override things, we basically create a new class and override. Just remember this, we are going to use this in some time. So I've just kept this commented and also this commented. So we are going to use that in some time. Let me talk about some other stuff. Now let me create a class, again class A, because I love these classes. Names. We got class A here. Now tell me everyone, in a class, what type of members we can have? Okay, we can have instance variables. Okay, perfect. So we can have static methods, static variables, right? But in general, if you say we can have variables, which we normally call them as properties, right? We can also have methods, right? Can we also have a class inside a class? I mean, sounds weird, right? Why someone will create a class inside a class when you can create a class outside? Okay, but then what happens is sometimes we do have a scenario. Example, if you are working on Android or any frameworks, basically they follow this concept of class inside a class. Not always, maybe 0.5%. They use this concept of class inside a class. Why? So let's say I have implementation, or maybe something like this. Let's go with this example. Instead of A, let's say we have a person. Okay. Now, when do you create a person? Because maybe you want to represent a person details. Example, you want to say person's age, then person's name, right? So when you want to have those details, normally you create a person class and then you create those variables where you can store that data. But what if you want to store the address? Or maybe you want to associate a particular phone to a particular person. So every person nowadays has a phone, right? We can't live our life without a phone. So instead of creating a different class for the phone, where you can have different properties, example, a phone will have its price, a phone will have its brand, or I can say model. So basically we can have different properties for the phone. So if you want to create a person object, you can do that like this. If you want to create for the phone, you can create like something like this. But when you create a class like this, anyone can access it. You can use it from anywhere in the world. But what if I want to specify that I want to use the phone class only for the person? Then you can do this. You can create the class, the phone class inside the person's class. Now the restriction is every time you want to use the phone class, we have to refer it through the person class. You can't simply create object of phone here directly. Example, if I try to create a person's object, and I can simply use those variables. But if I use phone's object here, you can see it's not even detecting where the phone is. So it is giving you an error. It says phone not found. Okay. So basically you can create a class inside a class. Now, why do we do this? Again, just to reiterate, if you want to restrict a particular class, that this class can only be used with the person, then you do this. In normal projects, we don't do that. As I mentioned, this is the usage of this type of concepts is only 0.5%. So you will hardly see projects where you are using inner classes. So normally in real life, we don't use it much. It's hardly we use it somewhere, only when you want to restrict it. So even if you create this class outside, there's no harm. You can create an object of the phone inside the person. But let's say if you want to limit the scope of it, that's where we use it inside. Everyone makes sense? We can use this. Normally, do we use it? No, but we can do this. We can create a class inside a class. But the question is how we are going to use it. So what I'm going to do is, let me remove the variables from the class because that's something we can use. I want to create methods here. So let's say in the person, I'm going to create a method called get details or get name, and I'm going to return. Okay, so since I'm saying name, I will say string. Just to keep it simple, say void. I will say print name. Okay, so we got this method called print name inside the person, and I'm going to print any name here. So whatever name I can see on the screen first, I will say Suresh. And in this phone, I'm going to print, I'm going to have a method called public void details, and I'm going to print which is your favorite phone. Let me say OnePlus. Okay, so we got this detail here, right? And we are printing OnePlus and stuff. Okay, so question arises, everyone, you help me here. How do I call print method? Okay, it's very simple. Once you got the object of person, I can simply say obj dot, I can say print name. So simple, right? Let me just comment this part. And if you run this, it will print the name, which is Suresh. Things are working out. But what if I want to print this detail? I mean, what if I want to call the details method? In that case, you need object of a phone. Right, everyone? So before we even do that, I have one more question for you. At the start of the session, I mentioned for every class which you create, it creates a class file, right? Everyone? Look at the code here and tell me how many class files it will create. Okay, let me share my screen, not just Zoom. Okay, can you see this window? Okay, so how many source file we have? We only have one source file, which is demo.java. But what about the class files? You can see we got demo.class, of course, because there's a main class. We got a person.class is because we have a class called person. And then we got a phone.class. But if you observe, it says person$phone.class. You know why? It's because it's an inner class. That's right. Now, this class belongs to person. So the only way you can access this phone class is through person. Okay. So that means if I want to create object of a phone, I have to therefore, this is what it is giving you error, right? It says, I'm not able to see where the phone is, cannot resolve this symbol phone. In that case, you have to mention, hey, don't worry. This phone class belongs to a person class. So you have to say person.phone. Okay. And here, for the object creation, now the class, if you see, a class can be a static class, a class can be non-static class. But that's weird, right? We have not seen the static class yet. From start, we're talking about static methods, static variables. But look at this. If I make a person class static, your IDE will give you some bad words. So you can see it says modifier static not allowed here. Then I just said, right, we can have a class static. So we can have a class static, but not the outer class. We can have the inner class as static. It's because the class, this class here, is a member of a person class. A member can be static, a member can be non-static. Everyone there with me? Okay. Now, if you make a class static, it doesn't mean that you can't create the object of it. You can create the object. The only way, or the only difference is, if you have a class, the phone class static, you can simply use the person.phone, and this works. You can see, of course, right, this makes much more sense. The phone belongs to person, so of course, this is the syntax you're going to use. So if you want to refer to phone, you just say person.phone. And once you get this object, you can simply say obj1.details. And now if you run this, you can see we got Suresh and we got 1+. Make sense, everyone? Okay, just to reiterate, we don't normally use inner class much in the projects. Yeah, there are certain documentations, there are certain inbuilt classes which are inner classes. So what's the advantage of doing this? The only reason you're going to do this is if you want to restrict the use of phone through person. That's it. There's no other use. Also, it helps you in the documentations. See, in the earlier days, or even now, we do that. For every file which you create, see, when you work for a company, the software is important, but also the documentation of that software is very important. How the software is working, what are the code files, what are the names of the files, how many methods you have, what are the behavior of those methods. And normally you maintain all the documentation. And to do this, we normally create something called a Java doc. Example, if I want to get documentation for this, I can simply use the okay, why it's not giving me multiple docs? Okay, so basically this is how you write comments, right, everyone? So if I want to use single line comment, I will use this. If I want a multi-line comment, I will use this syntax. But what if I want to create documentations as well with the help of comments? So what you can do is you can use this syntax, but just put double star. So you can see it has changed the color now. And whatever you write here, this is my special weekend project. Okay, so whatever you write, you can write your documentation like this. And there's a tool, I forgot where the tool is in IntelliJ. I used to do that in Eclipse and NetBeans. It's been a long time I've created documentation like this. Let me see. Let me see. Do you see anywhere which says convert to Java docs or generate? This should be method. Yeah, okay. Can you see that? It says generate Java doc. So when you click on this, it will create a documentation for you. And you click on generate output directory. Let's say in the project itself. Okay, so you can see it has created the documentation for this particular project. So I only have one Java file, that's why it is showing only one. And if I click on this, it will show what this method does. And with a line which I've written, it is not showing the line. They should add a description here. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's been a long time I've done that. So normally you create documentation like this. Did I forget the syntax for this? Yeah, the file is saved already. Anyway, you got the point, right? What I'm trying to show you. So basically for every Java, for the project, you can create your docs. And normally it shares the description as well. So whatever description you write in the documentation, it does that. Do I have to use 2* here? I don't think so, but let's try. We can specify author, we can specify other details as you can see here. Anyway, we'll just find out later what's so this. Anyway, the point is you can create documentation. So normally for every class which you create, every file which you create, it will create its own documentation. Okay. I just want to give one more try. I forgot the syntax. It's been a long time. You can mention the author. You can, in fact, if you just go to system class, yeah, this is the documentation I was talking about. Before changing to this, it was showing a different syntax or different format. Suddenly it is changing it to this particular format here. Yeah. This is how you write documentation. And we did the same. I don't know why it is not picking my documentation. So you can specify this. Yeah, it starts with single. In fact, initially we started with double and ending with single. It's not working. Anyway, I'll figure it out and we'll let you know later. Okay, you want me to remove the spaces here. Or maybe what if I just put this on top of demo? Oh, right. That one space, like one extra line. Okay. You got my point, right? Basically, you can write documentation, and you can get this multiple classes here. Now it is only demo because that's where you are working with. But it will create documentation for different classes as well. So how many classes you have? Let's say person, phone, and normally we create a different class file. I mean, different files, different Java files for different class files. So this should be in the person.java. This should be in phone.java, but we can do this syntax as well. Now, why I was showing you this is because the more classes you have, the more documentation you have to maintain. Imagine the only use of phone is for the person. So why to create a separate documentation for phone? What you can do is you can create the phone as an inner class, and you just have to create one documentation for person. In the person documentation, you will mention the phone documentation. Is it making sense? Okay, just go with this. The idea behind inner class is to limit the scope of it. Just skip the phone in the person. Now the only way to use a phone is through person. That's it. Nothing fancy. Okay. But if you're thinking that if it is not used much, then why we are learning this concept? It's because we are moving towards Lambda expression. And this is very important when it comes to Lambda expression. So just bear with me. Okay. Now, when the class was static, we have used this syntax and this was working. But what if the class is not static? Let me remove the static keyword from here. Now, what do you think? Will this work? You can see we got the error. When the class is not static, you can't simply use the name of a class. The non-static members needs objects. So if you want to access new phone, or if you want to create an object of phone, we have to say obj.new phone. And what is obj in this case? Is the object of person. Okay, can we make the method as static in a class? Yes, you can just go back here and say static. That works. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do with this class. This is like a normal class. In fact, phone has no idea that this is an inner class. Right. Okay. Everyone, is this making sense? We can create inner classes. Okay. Now let's go for the next one, the next concept. We have talked about overriding. We have talked about inner class. Let's see what else we can do now. Let me comment this so that you can use it later. And also I will keep this on top now because I want to use the existing data. Let's unveil this. Okay. So now tell me everyone, simple questions. What is the main reason we have created this class B? What was the idea behind it? Anusha, you are on mute if you're saying something.
Sorry, to inherit all the methods and properties from A and also to override the methods in A from
That's
A.
right. So the only reason we created this B class is to override this method show, right? Because initially we were happy with A, and then we thought, hey, I want to change the way it works. I want to change the implementation. So what we did is we created a new class B, and then we are saying, okay, let's override now. So the only purpose of this B is to override. And it's working. So if you just go back here and unveil this code and run this, it works. Okay. It is still running the Java doc. Don't run the Java doc. Run this file. Yeah, it works. You can say it says in B show. But what if I say there is another way of doing this? Let me show you how. What if I still say A? Of course, with A, you will say it will print what? It will be in A show, right? Again, you're on mute, but I was able to read your what you're trying to say. Okay. So it will print in A show. That's perfect. So if I run this, it will say in A show. If you want to change the behavior of a particular method, then why to create a separate class? What if I can do that here itself? Something like this. I know this syntax looks weird, right? We never did this. Why someone will put a curly brackets when you're getting the object? But just be with me. What I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to say, hey, create the object of A, but don't use the actual implementation of A class. Go for my implementation, which I'm going to give you here. And Java does allow it. Let me reiterate. I know that face, Kishore. You're like, what the hell is this? Let me just go back. Okay. This is how you normally create the object, right? Everyone there with me? So behind the scene, what is your compiler is doing is, compiler checks, okay, we got the class A, that's beautiful. I know the reference now. I can see the object you're creating is of A. So I just have to go to class A and look for the implementation. And whenever you call a method of that class, it will check, okay, show method belongs to A. I will just simply call this. Simple flow. But the moment you make it B, the flow changes, right? Where what it will do now is it knows, okay, so there is a reference of A, but then the object is of B. So when you're calling show, it will not go to A, it will go to B, right? Perfect. But now what I'm saying is go to A, but don't go to A, which is already there. If you're looking for the implementation, let me give you a new implementation. And this is where, and this is a class, okay? This thing here is a class. And now you'll be saying, hey, we are creating a class inside a class. Yes, we have done that before. In a class, right? Okay. And now in this class, I can basically create a method show where I can print in new show. There's no syntactical issue. If you can see Java's, your IDE is not saying anything to you. Let's run this. What do you think? What will be the output? Will it be in new show or in B show or in A show? Of course, right? It should be in new show. Otherwise, we have whatever we have done is of no use. Let's run this. And it says in new show. So what we are doing here is we are changing the implementation. The only purpose of this B was to override the method show of A. Now, if you want to override, we can simply use this curly brackets and write this method here. There is a reason why people hate Java. And now you know why.
I mean, how many objects are creating behind the scene here? Is it still A,
Only
demo,
one.
and B?
Only one.
Okay.
So
I
here
got one
we
question.
are
What exactly is that happening right now? Is it like creating a new inner class or creating a class and extending A?
Okay, it's basically creating a new inner class. There's something that this concept is called anonymous inner class. So basically what we're doing is we are creating a class. It's an inner class, but it is also, we don't have a name for it. And that's why it's called anonymous inner class. Behind the scene, it does check for the reference of A. Because you are overriding it here, right?
So a question. So basically, I mean, the code structure which you have explained before by creating an inner class inside a class.
Right.
So the output of it is the same and the output here is the same. So what is the major difference of classes getting created only once and like there we are getting, I mean, we have multiple classes getting
So
created
you're
over
talking
there.
about this example or the earlier one?
No, the current one.
The
So
current one, right?
what major difference is happening behind the scene?
Okay, good question. So one of the major differences, if you create this class B, in the file structure, if you go here and look at this, we also got a B.class, right? And for the anonymous class, we got demo $1. It's not demo dollar some name because we don't have a name for it. It's an anonymous class, right? So if I go back here and if I remove B, and let's recompile this. So there's no dependency of B now because we are changing the definition here itself. And you can see we don't have a B class. It's of no use. So first of all, we are reducing the documentation again. There's no need for another class, an outer class, which is just there to change the definition. We can change the definition from inside now. Okay. Now, syntactically, which looks better? The earlier one, the B one, or this one, anonymous?
I think the B1 looks so readable.
That's right. So B1 looks much more readable than this, right? And most of the time, you are going to use the B1. Most of the time. You know, there's a drawback for this. The drawback for this inner class is you can only use it once.
Exactly. Okay.
If you want to create one more time the object of A, and now you want the same definition, you have to type the code again here. If it was B, you can simply say new B. What I'm trying to say is, if it was class B, and if you just want to create object of class B, it was very simple, right? You can say new B, and you will get the same implementation of B multiple times. So if you create thousands of objects of B, you just have to define that once and create object multiple times. But with the help of the anonymous inner class, you can only create object of that once with one implementation. You can't reuse it. If you want to reuse it, you have to retype it.
So
So basically, if you want to reuse, go ahead.
Yeah, in the class here, if I create a display method, so can I call obj.display again on the down?
Okay, talking about here?
Yeah, let's say
Which
I have
one?
created
I
another
mean,
class.
multiple methods in class A.
Yeah,
Okay, let's
by using
try.
the same object.
So we got display here, and I'm trying to call obj.display. There's no issue, no compile time issue. Run, it works. It's just that we are changing the implementation of show only.
What if we want to
What
change the
if
implementation of display to?
Then
exactly?
again, go back here, define the method. It's like you can override any number of methods you want.
Can we create the new method as well?
Yes, you can create. The question is, can we access it? So let me try. So I will say public void, give me method name. We are so bad with method names. Okay, so we have created a new method. The question is, can you access it? Because in the original A, you don't have this method, right?
Yes.
So if I go back here now, and if I try to say obj dot control space, what was the method name? Get data. Do you see get data? No. You can't access it. You can create it, but you can't access it.
So that means we can't even create a new object of that inner class.
No, we can't create this object of this class again. This is the only object we have done and listed.
Okay.
If you want to recreate the object, then you have to rewrite the entire code.
No, what I mean is, in the previous example, we had a different inner class, like
Right.
person and then a phone. We were able to create an object for phone.
Right.
So we can't do that here.
Actually, this is the object itself. So this thing is the object of the new class. But we can't recreate it.
Okay.
So we can say in the case of anonymous inner class, we have to create objects first and then give definition. But in other classes, we first create the definition and then create the objects.
That's right. So basically, we create the definition, we create the object first, and then we define it. So normally I used to give an example before. There's something called innovation and discovery, right? Innovation is when you design first and then you make an object. So basically, when you say innovation, you first describe it, what you're going to build, and then you build it. In the discovery, so let's say if they go to a forest and they discover something new, so the object is there already. Then you create documentation for it, how it works, what is that particular thing is. So this is the discovery, right? You got the object here, and then you are saying, hey, let me create the implementation for this. But behind the scene, see, for you, it looks like we are getting the object, and then we are defining it. But behind the scene, it understands that the compiler says, okay, this is an anonymous inner class. Let me create the class behind the scene, and then let's create the object of it. Okay, don't go with the syntax sequence. Don't say that, hey, this is the object creation and then implementation. Actually, that looks like this, but behind the scene, compiler says, this is the implementation, and now let's create the object. Okay, let me show you one more thing. What I will do is I will just take this. Achha, before that, I have one more question. I just want to see if you do remember all the concepts. Can I do this? Is this the valid syntax without the reference? Yes. Okay. What is this called?
Object creation.
Yeah, object creation, that's right. But do we have a name for it? I mean, example, obj is a name for this particular object, right?
No reference created for it.
Yeah.
Or we-
So this is called anonymous object. Okay. Now, with the help of anonymous object, you can even call the methods of B. Have you seen this syntax before? Okay. Perfect. So either we can create the object first, I mean, just like this, obj1, and you can say dot show, obj1 dot show. That's normally we do that. But this is also we can do it. The only thing is you can use this object only once because we don't have a reference. Once you execute this line, that object is gone now. You can't reuse the same object. Making sense, everyone? Okay. Now with this, let me show you one more thing. Let me take the entire code. Now, since we can't reuse it, we can at least copy paste it. Right? So I can do this one more time, and then I can say dot, not display. What's the method name we have? Get data. So in case if you want to call get data, you can directly use the object creation and say get data. Earlier it was not working is because it was referring to the A. And A reference has no idea what get data is. Is it making sense, everyone? So this is anonymous object of the anonymous class. Okay, see, for your brain, these things will take some time to adjust. Okay, we don't do this on daily basis, but yeah, we have these concepts. Yes.
Okay.
Any question?
No, yeah, got it.
Okay. What is the use of this in real time? Okay, I will show that. I'm just going there. Okay. At the end of the session, you will understand the real purpose of why we are doing all these things which we have done till now. We are reaching to the point of lambda expression, and this is just a build-up for it. Vijay Raju says, what is this get data in curly? This one. This is a method, right, which we created here. The problem, Vijay, earlier was when we were trying to do this, and with the help of this method obj, I was not able to call get data. And now with this syntax, I can call get data. That's what I was just trying to show them. So if I run this, it says new data. Everyone good with the syntax? Okay. Maybe for today's session, you have to practice a lot. If you're good with this, let me create another file now. This is why you should not use Java docs inside the same project. It all messed up. Okay, let me get a new file now and let's do it here. I don't want to touch the earlier code. Okay, now I need your help, everyone. Tell me one thing. Can I create object of abstract class? No, right? Okay, so if I have an abstract class, let's say class A, or maybe let's use something else. Let's say class P, okay? And in this, I have a method which is public void show. Okay, so we have this method now, right? Now tell me, if I want to call show, what are the steps we have to take? I want to execute this show method. Quick.
By creating a new class and giving the behavior for the show method.
So let's say class R extends P, and then you have to define the method, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
and print something here. I will say in show. Perfect. And then we can create the reference of P, right? And we can create the object of P, right?
No, we can't create
object
class.
of R.
Yeah. We can't create a reference for an abstract class. Sorry, object of reference. Okay. Object of abstract class. Naveen, you there? It looks like you're frozen. Got connected.
Okay, so from my main machine, which I was using, there's no power. I'm joining from laptop. And my UPS died a few days ago. So where was I? So new machine, I have to write the code again. The good thing is we have not written much of the code. Share. Just a second. I need to close Chrome because this is my personal laptop. Can you see me? Can you see my screen, everyone? Okay, perfect. Let me create a new project quickly. Is the font too small?
It's good.
Okay. Looks like the AI is enabled. Okay, so now let's go back. What I was talking about is we have to create a class, right? So the abstract class was there. The abstract class, I'm properly audible, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, you are.
Okay, perfect. So we got this class P, and then we had a method here, which is abstract void show. This was declared. And the only way to call this show here was to basically create a class which implements P. So we created a class called R, which extends P. And then in this particular class, I can create a method which is public void show. And in this show, I can define the method in show. And now I can simply create object of, I can create a reference of P obj equal to new P. And this is where the power went off, I think. So can we do
It's
this?
new R. No, we cannot create an
No.
object for the abstract class.
That's right. So we can't get object of abstract class. So normally what we do is, so we say new R. And then there's no complaints now because R is a normal class. And I can simply say obj.show, things are working out. You can see there's no error. Let me run this. And in the output window, it says in show. Perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, tell me one thing. What is the sole purpose of this class?
Defining the abstract method.
That's right. What if I want to use this implementation only once?
Same like, I mean, we can do it like the anonymous inner class or
Anonymous.
That's right.
Anonymous in a class like while object creation.
That's right. So we can say P here. Again, it will complain that, hey, P is abstract class. But I will say, don't worry. Let me give you the implementation here itself. Right? And I will say public void show. The same thing which we have done in R, I will do it here. No problem. You can see there's no error. And I'm going to comment out R class and run this. It still works. Now, is it making sense? Whatever we have done till now, from last 1 hour, we're talking about inner classes. We are moving towards anonymous inner class. Does it make sense? If you have an abstract class and if you want to implement it, but you're going to use this definition only once, then why you have to create a separate class when you can do it on the line of object creation itself? Everyone there with me? Okay, perfect. Now let me show you one more thing. Okay, what if this is not a class? What if this is an interface? Of course, in the interface, all the methods are abstract. Can we do this? You can see there's no complaint. We can't create object of interface, right? We are saying that new P, but then we are not creating the object of the interface. We are creating the object of a class. This is a class which is implementing the interface. right? And if I run this, it still works. So it works with the abstract class, it works with the interface as well. Okay, Nikit says, then how much percentage we are achieving abstraction? Sorry, I didn't get the percentage thing. Okay. Everyone there with me? Because the things will get a bit weird after this time. I mean, I'm going to do something which might affect your brain. Okay.
From which version of Java this inner class has been?
I think 1.5.
Oh my God, okay. Long back.
Long back, yeah. But Lambda expression, which I'm going to show you now, it was introduced in 1.8,
I think.
2014 somewhere. And anonymous class in 2005, 4 or 5. Okay. I did something here. I know this looks weird. I'm going to explain that in some time. Don't worry. Let me run this. It says in show. So what we are doing is we are implementing the method show of P in one line.
There's kind of an arrow function in JavaScript.
Yes, people coming from JavaScript, they are aware about it. So normally Java guys, they blabber about Lambda expression. They're like, hey, we got this amazing thing. And JavaScript guy says, hold my beer. Right. So all these things are there in JavaScript and other languages from a long time. It took some time for Java to introduce this concept. The reason is Java is purely object-oriented, right? And JavaScript being a functional programming, they can do all those things because functions are the main things there. And Java is known for their verbosity. But then later on, in 2014, it was more about big data and all those stuff. So they wanted to introduce functional styling in Java. And that's where they introduced the Lambda expressions. So yeah, it is similar to arrow function. In
So
arrow
one
function,
question.
it's
So
anonymous
basically, even in Lambda functions, so is it again like only when we wanted to write one line of a code or like anything to define only once, or
Yes, it is a replacement of anonymous in a class. Okay, but for everyone else who have no idea what arrow functions are and Lambda are, let me do that step by step. Okay, first of all, tell me, are you happy with this syntax, which you can see on the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I need a volunteer now. Let's say that volunteer is Anusha, because
Yeah.
you are on top of the screen now. After Daniel, Daniel's camera is off, so you are the target. So let's say, Anusha, I have the interface here. Interface name is, let's say, person. And in this method is a method called get data. Cool. I want you to be my AI, and I want you to complete the sentence. So when I say person, just complete the sentence for me.
Can you scroll a bit up? Up. Yeah, new person. Yeah, braces. And then you want to print something from the person interface.
I want to write some code inside
Get
this.
data. Okay.
So tell me, what's the syntax?
So curly braces start. Get data, void get data. I mean public void get data. print something.
Perfect. So till this point, you were able to complete this. So you know that in the person. So why did you guess that it should be new person here?
Because we are creating an object
Of a person, right?
of a person, yeah.
Perfect. Why you went for get data?
Because we
Why?
are trying to override it.
That's right, because in the person, we only have one method, which is get data, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we said get data here.
Yeah.
Perfect. But you are not sure what should be written inside the method because that's in my mind, right? How will you guess?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I wanted to say here, good night. Have a great. Okay, that will be huge. Anyway, you got the point, right? So whatever I want to write, I can do that in this method. But you were able to help me with the new person and get data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are able to help me, don't you think your compiler or your IDE should be able to help you with that syntax? Why you have to write every line of code?
Yeah.
Java is verbose because we mention each and everything. How do you make it shorter? See, some people like it, some people don't like it. This is very subjective. People who love Java, they love Java because of its verbosity. And suddenly Java is moving towards functional styling, and some people have issue with it. I had in 2014. Then I accepted. We don't have a choice. And then I started loving it. And now I use more of a Lambda expression than anything else. Okay.
So
So
Lambda expression is nothing but to just write the code in one line in simple form.
yes, make the code shorter.
Shorter. Okay.
Okay. The expression, the arrow expression is called Lambda expression, but the idea behind that is make the code shorter. So
Okay.
what you can do is, if you can guess this, so till this point you were able to guess, right? So let's remove it. If you can guess it, even compiler can guess it. What you will keep there is only the brackets of the method. Don't even mention the name of the method because in the class person, we only have one method.
Yeah.
And we can use an arrow here. And that's it. Okay, one more thing. Oh, okay, sorry. Remove the bracket. One more thing for the new person, we had this curly brackets here, which we removed. So here also we have to remove this. So this is how you can do it. Will it work? Let me show you. I will say person dot get data. And you can't see my run button. And you can see it says good night. Making sense, everyone? But since we only have one line here, we can skip this curly brackets. Just same like we used to do in if else. It only works when you have only one line. And we can write on the same line. Cool?
Yep.
Okay. Now I have a question for everyone. And the question has been asked in the chat, the same question. What if we have more than one method? Okay, let's try. I will say void show data. Now we got two methods. And if you go down, it will not work. You know why it will not work?
We only have one braces, maybe.
Oh, because it gets confused now. If you say round brackets, which method you are referring to? Are you referring to the get data or show data? That's a confusion we have here. So it simply says, whenever Java has an issue, it simply removes the concept. We had issue with the multiple inheritance. Java says, let's remove it. Okay, so that's a very simple one. But anyway, the point is, it will only work with an interface which has only one method. And that's why we have a special name for the interfaces which has only one method. Anusha, welcome to
Functional
the club.
interface.
The power went off, right, Anusha? Suddenly, everything, the entire screen got. I can
Or
only
is it?
see three faces: Anusha, Aditya, and Kishore. Where was I? I was talking about.
Functional interface. You were about to define the name.
Yeah. Okay. So did I mention functional interface or you guessed it?
No, we guessed it.
Okay. So this works with only one type of interface, which is called a functional interface. What is functional interface? Interface with only one method. So basically, there are different types of different type of interfaces. So interface can be a normal interface. What is normal interface? An interface can have multiple methods. Normal interface. Then we have something called SAM. SAM stands for Single Abstract Method Interface.
Method.
So the interface which has only one method. And then we can have a type called marker interface. Marker interface is the interface with no methods. I know that sounds weird, right? Why someone will create an interface without method? You will get to know this once Heather starts talking about serialization, deserialization. Okay.
For
And
serialization, we don't have the methods, or else, like
that's right. That's right. Heather talked about serialization before.
no, I heard of that concept. I have seen that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Serializable interface doesn't have any method because it's a marker
I
interface.
mean,
Just
he
for
generally
marker.
mentioned like he would discuss this in the IO concept about
Okay.
the marker interfaces and everything.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, so marker interface we will understand there. What we are focusing here is SAM. SAM, so before 1.8 it was called SAM. After 1.8 they have renamed it to functional interface. Okay, so what is functional interface? An interface which has only one method. In fact, it is so important they have introduced an annotation called functional interface. Just to be sure that what you're doing is functional interface. In case by mistake, if someone is adding a method there, then you will get error here itself. It says multiple non-overriding abstract methods found in the interface person. Make sense? So you can't have two methods in the functional interface. Did Heather talked about default methods in the interface?
Yes.
So you can define methods in interface, right? With the help of default keyword.
Yeah.
Perfect. Can we do that in functional interface? Can we have two methods? One is abstract and one is default.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly yes, right? Because it is only concerned about the non-implemented methods. Let's try. So no issue. You can see no errors, no errors. So you can only have one abstract method. Multiple methods you can have, but abstract method can be only one. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, now let me blow your mind. It should not work, right? Two methods.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not aware of two-string method in detail, but I think it's a predefined class by Java. I think that is the reason this is working.
Perfect. The thing is, toString is a predefined method, right? So every class in Java extends object class. So anyway, it knows that toString is already implemented. So there's no issue with the toString. So any method which is inbuilt in the object class will work, but if you create some other method, it will not work. Perfect.
Sir, I have a doubt. This is Chavan Anand, but
Yes.
person is an interface, right? How can it extend object class?
Okay, no, so no, the interface is not extending the object class. The class which is going to implement the interface is by default extending the object class.
Got it. Okay.
Let me reiterate for everyone who is confused. Basically, the question from Chavan was, what if, I mean, the person is the interface, right? Then how it can extend the object class? Basically, the object class, I mean, any class which is implementing the interface is anyway extending the object class.
Right.
Right. So that's what I just wanted to reiterate. Okay, now let me do something else. Instead of saying get data, let me change the method name to add. Okay, and it should be able to add two numbers and it should return int. It's already 8:30. Can we wait here for next 10 more minutes? If everyone is okay, we can continue. Otherwise, we have to continue tomorrow. 10 more minutes. Perfect. Okay. So let's say I'm going to take two variables, let's say int x and int y. Okay. I just want to add these two values and return an integer. Perfect. How will you do that in normal implementation? Let's ignore Lambda. Let's go with normal implementation so that it will make much more sense. So I will say class person implementation, which will implement person. And in this, I'm going to implement public int add int x comma int y, and then return x plus y. I mean, whatever logic you have. Simple, everyone. And then I can come back here. Person is showing the error is because we have changed the code. Okay. I can come back here and can say person obj1 is equal to new. I can't say person, I have to say person implementation. And then I can simply return, maybe I will just have int result is equal to obj1 dot add. I want to add 5 and 6 and print the result. There's something we have done before, nothing new here, right? Now what I want to do is I don't want to use this class here. I want to do anonymous inner class. So in the anonymous inner class, you say person. Okay. At any given point, if you feel confused, just stop me, okay? Because I'm going to continue slowly. So we got new person. And then we know if you want to implement it, you have to say curly brackets. And then in this, you can define the method, which is public int add, which will take two variables, int x comma int y. And then this is going to return what? X plus y. And then this thing should work. Any issue with this code? So what we went from normal class to anonymous inner class, nothing fancy, right? Let me run this to check if this is working, and this is working. In fact, I will make a loophole in the code so that you will know that, or the error in the code so that you will know it's using the new implementation, not the older one. Perfect. Okay. Now we are moving towards converting this into a Lambda expression. So you help me here. What are the things you think I can remove? Can I remove this?
New person, yeah.
New person and
Can I remove till here?
method. Yeah.
Okay. Done. Now see, since I'm removing this curly bracket, I'm going to also remove this curly bracket, right? Okay. So done. What next? Now, since we are using Lambda expression, we have to give arrow as well. Not this. It worked. Let's run this. Yay, it's working. Any issue with the code? Okay, at least we know this is working, so I can remove this +1. You know, it is irritating looking at that +1. Okay. You want me to make this more shorter? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. First of all, do we have to mention with the data type? We know the data type here, right? Then why you have to mention it here when you are defining it? So you can remove the definition for both the variables. You want to make it more shorter? Okay. Since we only have one line, we don't need curly brackets. The only problem is the only line is actually return, then you don't need to mention return. This is the beauty of Lambda expression. This is where JavaScript people are so proud of their language. Okay. So all these things are actually syntactical sugars. Okay. Behind the scene, it does create a class. It does all the things which was happening before. It's just that as a programmer, you are not typing it. It saves your time. So just to explain this, we have started with the concept of inner classes. Okay.
So Navin, Sai Teja here. So all this works when interface or a class has only one method, right?
Yes.
Like it is limited to only one method area. Like if you have multiple methods in a class or an interface, then there is no point of using Lambda function. There is no way to use it, right?
Exactly. So if you have multiple abstract methods, then you can't use it.
And this is more like a JS arrow function.
Sorry, which one?
The Lambda function is just more like a JS arrow function.
That's right. That's right. Now you might be thinking why we have spending so much of time where this will only work when you have only one method, right? But what if I say most of the methods in Java, most of the interfaces in Java has only one method? So maybe soon Heather is going to continue with multi-threading. And if I am in the session, I will mention that. Otherwise, when Heather is talking about multi-threading, and when he talks about the runnable interface, look at the runnable interface. It has only one method. So most of the method you will see now in the interfaces will only have one method. Okay. Not all, most of it. So in
So
case
if
if you have multiple methods, then we have to use normal way. And most of the time we use normal way. There's a drawback of this also. This implementation is, you can use it only once. If you want to create one more person's object, then you have to retype it. Everyone there with me? So this Lambda expression is a replacement of anonymous inner class. So we'll have multiple interfaces for each method. I mean, yeah, we have multiple interfaces and different interfaces have different methods. We can extract the implementation to a method and yeah, so basically you can create a normal method of it and you can use it. Okay, one more thing before we go. What if you have a method with only one parameter? Let's say person, in show we have only, let's say string s. And now tell me, how do I create object of person here? Oh, sorry, p here. Anyone?
If it is for lambda expression, you just create it as the same and you just pass the string value in the braces, I guess.
Okay. So if I go with normal implementation, it should be something like this. We should take string P, string S, and here, let me print the length of it. Okay. And when I'm going to call this, I will say show. No, it should print 5. Okay. What if I want to use lambda here? So I can just remove this, right? Remove this, put an arrow. We don't need, in fact, we don't need curly brackets since we only have one line. Okay, we don't need string. When you have two variables, we can use round brackets. More than one variable, we can use round brackets. When you got only one variable, you don't even need round brackets. Yeah. Cool. See, make sure before the next session, you practice this because lambda expression looks cool, but it takes some time for the brain to accept it. How do you write? So whatever we have done till now, we were going from anonymous in a class to lambda expression. The question is, can you type the lambda expression state directly? So that takes some efforts and that takes some time. Cool. Okay. Now this is not the last time we are going to use lambda expression. Once we start with stream API, I'll be back for stream API, and then you will see more part of lambda expression. Okay. Cool. It's becoming more of a sign language. Cool. Cool. Oh, someone is using the marker. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this session.
Sir, I have a doubt. Actually, I tried to replicate in my machine. Somehow I'm not getting an output. Can you please help me out? Is there a possibility to share my screen?
Yes, I'm going to give you the permission. Okay, where is the permission tab? Just hold on. Do you see an option of sharing the screen?
Yeah, I do see an option of sharing button with a green up
Okay.
arrow.
Yeah, do it then.
Oh yeah, now okay. Share. Okay. So host disabled participating screen sharing. Sir, you guys able to see my screen? Yeah. So okay, here is an interface person, and I have created this lambda expression. When I run this, somehow I'm not getting an output.
Yeah, you have to call the method also, right? On that line, you're creating the object.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to call the method, which is get data. So next line, p dot get data.
Oh, p dot get it. Okay. And now if I okay, yeah, got it. Fine. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the session for longer than usual. See you next time.
Thanks, Navin.
Like this.
Thank you, Navin. Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Yeah, we'll add the code in the resource. Thank you.